Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 157 of the Citrix session. I'm your host this morning, Bill Sutton. Our fearless leader, Andy Whiteside, is taking some much deserved rest and relaxation, so he will be back next week, I'm sure. With me this morning are two folks from Citrix Cloud Software Group. Todd, you want to introduce yourself real quick for everyone? I think most everybody listens to this knows who you are, but go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It's always hopefully we get some new listeners and viewers to this podcast. But my name's Todd Smith. I'm the account technology strategist covering North American public sector, specifically Canada, which includes the Canadian government agencies as well as three large healthcare organizations in Western Canada.
Very good. Thanks for joining. Monica, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, good to be back. Hi, all. Monica Griesmer. I am a senior product marketing manager for Citrix Virtualization. So that's virtual apps and desktops and Citrix DaaS. The topics we're covering today is really top of mind, had a lot to do with this launch, a lot to do with the blogs. So excited to be having conversations about our vision and where we're headed into 2024.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, what we're going to be talking about this morning, and let me make sure, can you guys see my screen, Monica and Todd?
Yes.
Yep.
I don't use Zoom as much as I used to, so sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge. But nevertheless, the blog that we're doing this morning is entitled "Welcome to the Citrix Platform," and it's written by Sridhar Mullapudi, I think. Sridhar is a longtime Citrix person. I've met him many years ago when I think he was a product manager or something. He's a really good, articulate individual, and this should be an interesting article. I know that a couple of us, Monica, I don't know, were you at Unite?
I was not, unfortunately. But
Okay.
you two were?
Yes, Todd and I
Yep.
were. At least I saw Todd there. So,
He's
yeah,
kind of hard to miss.
yeah, that's
He's
true.
taller than everybody else.
Yeah. So this is top of mind because Unite was a like a Citrix sales kickoff, and then they added a day for the partners to come in and kind of learn about some of the changes to the Citrix packaging and offerings and how they're going to be taken to market. And so that's really what this Welcome to the Citrix platform focuses on. So I'm going to kind of take a slight back seat here. I'll just hit the highlights. I'll kind of play Andy today, although I may
Sure.
not talk quite as much as Andy. He'll enjoy that. Nevertheless, the Citrix platform is really designed to, obviously, like it says in the blog, with the platform you can deliver, monitor, and manage secure application access. Kind of the things that Citrix has been doing for all these years, but they've kind of simplified it and
hmm
put it in a word. Simplified the platform offerings as opposed to the previous offerings where you had lots of additions, standard, enterprise, platinum, premium plus, what have you. I'm sure I
hmm
got some of those wrong.
Nope.
And then a lot of add-ons that were available, feature add-ons. Some of them were included, but were additional pieces. Some were additional purchases. So now they've consolidated things, and there are essentially we're going to focus on two of the offerings, I think, today. The first being the enterprise or the universal hybrid cloud. So, Monica, you want to introduce that for us?
Yeah, no, thank you, Bill,
Yep.
for that background. You really gave a lot of the meat of the announcements and what we're going to talk about today. To preface a bit and step back just
Sure.
briefly,
Mhm.
I the platform, the Citrix platform is more of an idea. It's an amalgamation of all of the capabilities that you know and love from Citrix. And now, not to, steal my own thunder, but from NetScaler as well. So
Mhm.
the platform encapsulates honestly what we do best: virtual apps and desktops. It's got built-in security. We've got new capabilities, security features, new observability features. That word is always so hard for me. I don't know why. My Midwestern accent does not like the word observability, but Citrix does. So we've got some great analytics built in there. We'll get into that. But when you see the platform, I don't want it to be confused as, oh, Citrix has a new interface, or oh, Citrix just has this new web thing. Let me move on. It's really about the direction of our products and bringing the best of our products together. And Bill, I love that you use the word simplicity. That's when it comes down to our licensing. So the platform as a whole, you'll also see a brand new Citrix.com look and feel. That's a shameless plug for me and our team. We did a ton of work to update Citrix.com to really encapsulate everything in this platform. So it's more just the Citrix story. Now we're going to get into the licensing specifics and how to transact and actually get to use all of this great stuff, but wanted to kind of jump in the call there. Todd, is there anything I missed before we kind of get into the specifics of the licensing?
Yeah, so I think it does bring a simple way to acquire for a customer to purchase all of these components instead of having to go and pick individual SKUs and versions and things like that. It really is a platform-based approach, right? So with one single platform license, I have the ability to incorporate zero trust as my security model. I have the ability to deliver and utilize virtual apps and virtual desktops. And I have also have the ability to leverage NetScaler, tie that all together with observability across the entire architecture, the entire environment. And now all of a sudden I've got one single license that enables me to do all of that without having to worry about picking and choosing the right versions and the right editions. It's going to be on-prem, it's going to be in the cloud, a variety of different things. I've got one license that rules them all.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
I
one of
used to,
go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say, and we'll get to it in a minute, but we're going to talk really about two of the pieces of the overall changes here in a few minutes. So go ahead, Monica.
Yeah, no, I hope everyone caught that Lord of the Rings reference that Todd just gave, the one license to rule them all. I used to say that about, well,
Fires
I
of
said,
Mordor.
yeah, that was pretty good actually. I said that about Universal that we introduced last year, and I think that, Bill, if you don't mind, we roll into the new Universal
No,
this
go
year.
ahead. Yeah, that's what yeah, go ahead.
Great. So I think that's a great segue of last year we introduced a universal license that was I kind of said one license to rule them all, but it was more about your management plane and your workloads. So this is even more so. It's almost like the ring, I don't know, times two or whatever. I'm not super up on my Lord of the Rings, so I should probably quit while I'm ahead. But as far as the new universal license, it is called the Universal Hybrid Multi-Cloud. So this is where I think the vast majority of our enterprise customers will sit. It's the license that they will leverage the most. And so it's all of the capabilities of Citrix virtual apps and desktops on premises, Citrix DaaS in the cloud, combined with security capabilities built in, director, monitor, all of the things you know and love, plus full featured NetScaler with more than enough throughput for your enterprise. So it's also got premium capabilities. So I know, Bill, you were kind of rattling off the additions.
Right.
It's made my life a lot easier because we used to manage, I'm sure our customers' lives, we used to manage 12 to 15, at least just virtual apps and desktops editions across the board. Now we're down to two. So easier to pick from, easier to understand. And the Universal Hybrid Multi-Cloud is really about leveraging your apps and desktops and app delivery and delivering that exactly where you want. On premises, in the cloud, you can have your access layer, storefront, or workspace. The management layer can be on premises, CVAD, cloud-based, Citrix DaaS. Your workloads can be a combination of any of them. So it's really a super beefy entitlement and is the next evolution of the universal license we introduced last year.
But this is like universal with hybrid rights, but we're not worrying about hybrid rights anymore.
It's hybrid rights
they're
forever.
entitled to everything.
Yes, sir.
With as listed here, the CVAD premium, DaaS premium, a lot of NetScaler throughput with unlimited instances, and then also included in it is endpoint management.
Endpoint management, that is correct.
Always a
Yes.
separate add-on depending on which license in the menu of choices you had in the past. Now you have this choice.
Absolutely.
Includes pretty much everything you'd need to have a really solid environment.
Hmm.
Todd, thoughts?
Yeah, and I think Bill, you just touched on something that was very critical when you mentioned the hybrid rights, right?
Yeah.
Hybrid rights was brought about so that the customers who owned a virtual desktop in the cloud license could continue to run it on-prem. That required a lot of administrative tasks to rescind licenses, get new license
Yeah.
keys, figure out where I'm going to be putting those workloads, right? Whether it be on a private cloud or whether it was going to be in Azure or GCP or AWS or at some other, you know, managed cloud service provider, right? Uh, that required a lot of work and effort to do that. And there was a lot of confusion around how to actually operationalize that. This approach towards hybrid multi-cloud allows you to not worry about where those workloads are running because you as the customer control that license. You could put that license, you could apply that license anywhere. On-prem, in the cloud, private cloud, doesn't matter.
Right. There's a really interesting graphic in the blog itself. I encourage listeners to take a look at it. That kind of demonstrates the access management workloads and hosting layers, if you will, of the solution, and then choosing your own device and where everything falls within those categories. It's kind of gives you a really solid snapshot picture of what this hybrid multi-cloud offering looks like. Any other final thoughts on hybrid multi-cloud? before we-
Yeah, as we kind of scroll down too, and this is in the blog itself, but
Mhm.
for organizations that have a big thing about the platform is it takes a lot of point solutions and brings it all under the Citrix umbrella.
Yep.
So if you're leveraging VMware as a point solution today, F5 for your networking, you are now entitled to all of those capabilities inside of the Citrix Universal Hybrid Multi-Cloud license. And we know there's a lot going on with VMware on that side, not to speak too much about it, but we've had a lot of customer conversations of wanting to switch, wanting to leverage the full scope of the Citrix platform and our capabilities. So I think now is a great time to do that if you're thinking about maybe making the switch.
Yeah, I think the reality is we don't really know what's happening with VMware at this
Yeah.
point. The company's being acquired, and we don't, we have no idea. So, obviously, customers who are concerned in that regard, or that want to move from another platform or expand their existing Citrix environment, the hybrid multi-cloud solution, which I've seen referred to as HMC, is a definitely a solid offering. Includes a lot of functionality that historically we had to purchase separately, or we had to be very tactical about how we selected the right addition for
Mhm.
our use cases.
And also, one last thing that's in the name is the hybrid multi-cloud. I don't know if we really touched on the hosting, but still
No.
hanging our hats on the Citrix, any
Yep.
message, any hyperscaler, Azure, Google, AWS. We play nicely with all of them. We're also continuing to expand on all of them. We just announced a tech preview of Citrix DaaS for Amazon Workspaces
Mhm.
Core, which is their compute. We still have the compute um for Microsoft. So any of your entitlements there, you can use as well. So that's also wanting to make sure that point was clear. Any cloud we play well with.
Yeah, and I think for both the comment earlier about the looking at what's happening with VMware, it's not only that's not the only thing driving
Hmm.
the sense of competition, right? I think every organization is reviewing where they're spending their money.
Mhm.
Um, are they going with something that's going to continue to provide value? Are they looking to reduce and manage and maintain the cost structure? Um, are there, is it something that's going to allow them to future proof their environments? Right. So this inspection, this rationalization exercise that almost every organization is going through is actually a good thing, right? And it would happen. I think the economic factors are that everyone's looking at their budgets and everyone's looking where they're spending their money. And, we can get it off the shelf as faster than anyone else in the marketplace. Right. So I think that's a huge value there. We're no longer kind of positioning a bunch of shelfware that's going to take a year to deploy. Another critical piece of this, right, is that, we have introduced a license that is not only simple, but it's technology that is well known and very easy to deploy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one other thing I would add to what you just said, Todd, is obviously as part of budget planning or planning for, planning strategically for future rollouts and solutions for our customers is obviously one of the key elements there is business continuity and disaster recovery. And you want a solution that's going to enable that without a lot of add-on products or a lot of other elements that are required to make it work. And certainly leveraging hybrid multi-cloud with its capabilities, being able to burst to the cloud or burst elsewhere and have multiple resource locations plays right into that strategy, and certainly ought to be something worth considering.
Yeah. In fact, I'm working with a customer now that they're looking at including some Azure instances as part of their DR. They're primarily on-prem.
Yep.
But they're putting an instance in Azure just so they can have it there. So when they do have to fail over, they don't have to build anything out in Azure. The only thing they're building out is they're just adding more capacity. The nuts and bolts in the infrastructure is already there.
Right.
And that used to be for them, it used to be a always active or an active backup data center that they were spending a lot of money on that they never got a chance to use. With leveraging the cloud to burst out, right? And think about it, disaster is no longer a natural or physical disaster. Sometimes you could have a disaster if you all of a sudden have to onboard 1,000 new employees.
Right.
It's the same function. It's the same process that you need to follow.
Yeah.
So this is because the disaster recovery business continuity conversations are happening a lot more frequently.
Well, to your point, and I know this is probably business continuity, but you have a problem in your main data center, you can fail over to a different location or to the cloud and allow users to work from there for a few hours while you get your environment back up and running and that sort of thing. Certainly that's business continuity, but it's not as complex as it was 10 years, 15 years ago. With and without the Citrix ecosystem. I want to double down on something Monica said as well. She referenced Citrix DAS with Amazon Workspace's core. This is Amazon Workspace's core has been out for a little while, and they partnered with other providers, and they've finally gotten to Citrix and partnered with Citrix. We as XenTegra, it's a shameless plug here, are building a demo environment in that solution right now, actively. One of my consultants is working on it. And just stay tuned. We'll be doing some events with Citrix and Amazon or AWS to try to explain how that solution works, what its benefits are, and so forth. So stay tuned on that one.
And I'm sure if I were a betting woman, we'll have a blog coming soon. So I'll probably be back on here talking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's fair to say. That's fair to say for sure. I think there is actually already might be a blog.
There's a tech preview blog out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
there's been a lot happening the past few weeks, so I don't think we're at a lack of content.
No.
So stay tuned, everyone listening.
Yeah,
we've got a lot.
So next, I want the overarching concept is called the Citrix platform, and a part of that is the platform license.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just throw it out there. Either whichever one of you want to take that and start talking about the platform license. Whoever speaks first.
Yeah, I can go ahead and run with it. So the platform license is the other pillar of our subscription changes. And the platform license is really what Todd spoke about at the beginning. It's everything that Citrix as an organization offers, all within one singular license. So in addition to what we talked about in Universal Hybrid Multi-Cloud with virtual apps and desktops, NetScaler capacity, security, endpoint management, inside of the platform license, you also get secure private access, so secure your web and SaaS applications, and enhanced observability. I think you also saw we announced the Uber agent acquisition. So that's even another pillar of analytics, observability, insights into your environment. These licenses are really built for customers that are looking to have strong partnerships with Citrix, leverage the full scope of the platform inside of their environments. And again, I say partnerships, but it's truly be partners with us. Even inside, to pull back the curtain a bit, inside the organization, we're really looking to work with those customers and make sure they're getting the most out of their environments. They give us direct feedback to make sure that we're meeting their top use cases. And that's what the platform license is built for. That symbiotic relationship, leveraging everything that Citrix has to offer. So with that said, it does take a little bit more doing to get a hold of the Citrix platform license. I won't say you can go and buy it off the shelf today. It's really about that relationship. Todd, do you have more to add there?
Yeah, and I think part of it is it's a mutual investment, right?
Hmm.
So while customers are buying a platform license, Citrix is committed to make an investment in the customers as well in the terms of supportability, product management activities, right? So being able to go to those platform level customers and not perform a lot of customizations, but more importantly, get input on future product directions, right? So what are the critical components that a platform customer needs to have to not only be successful, but also to be able to expand out and use all of the functionality that's available, and also plan for the future. And I think this kind of goes back to the XenTegra messaging around, the majority of customers that XenTegra has are not really utilizing all of their resources. But XenTegra's job is to help you maximize that and get the most value for your dollar.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know if you touched on it or not, Monica, like you indicated, you can't just go buy the Citrix platform license off you know, by itself. It's an invitation only. But one thing that I learned at Unite was that this invitation only is not necessarily restricted to the largest enterprise customer. It can be a mid-market type customer. For a lot of our listeners, that may be many of who are listening. And
Hmm.
the core of what I understood was that they're, to your point, Monica, if they're using it strategically across the enterprise or across the organization, they're obviously going to need to be of a certain size, but I think even that's fluid. And then
Hmm.
partnering directly with Citrix and working directly with them to take advantage of all of the capabilities that the platform license offers, which
Yep.
are, to your point, more than the hybrid multi-cloud license. Obviously, the ZTNA, web browser security, SPAs, and other Uber agent are part of the platform license, and
Hmm.
those capabilities. Citrix is certainly going to want to partner with customers. They're going to want to use those and use them strategically, not just as point solutions.
Absolutely. And it's also bringing together multiple parts of your organization,
Mhm.
maybe multiple folks. Both Todd and I had the opportunity to be at HIMSS, the healthcare conference this week, and we had whole conversations on life beyond the electronic health records.
Right.
Obviously, we do a ton of work there, a ton of virtualization, security around those health records, but also within even hospital systems, they need web browsers, they need SaaS applications, those need secured. And what Todd said and Bill's Integra is great at is being like, did you know your Citrix can do this? Like, did you know your Citrix can help you secure your browser, can help you manage even built into the DAS console, your director, you can do workspace environment management, you can increase, like, there's so much that we can do just beyond probably the tunnel vision that a lot of our organizations have of Citrix does X. Citrix virtualizes this app. I move on with my life.
Right.
So when folks see and hear that we can do so much more than that, it's really about having that partnership. And then when they get into the product saying, "Ooh, maybe it can do this, maybe it can do that." It helps us innovate. It helps you all work better, work smarter within your organizations.
Yeah, and I think one of the great things that we saw down at HIMSS last week in Monaco was that the impact of this move towards in-person healthcare or in-home healthcare. And we're not talking about a visiting nurse. We're talking about, the doctors actually going out and visiting a patient in their home. Doctors doing house calls, and sometimes that's in person, right? But a lot of times that's being done through telemedicine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Healthcare is so used to having this lockdown environment where you go to a hospital that you cannot access the building unless you have, you go through the main door, you go through the emergency room door. There's a lot of security capabilities built into their operating model. Um, but yet when you do telemedicine, you're going in over a Zoom call, you're going in over a Teams meeting, you're going in through some other third party tool, and you need to be able to provide that same level of security and that same level of privacy that you would normally do if you were going to an exam room in a hospital. Uh, that has had a huge impact. The other piece of it has been the introduction to a lot of the AI and augmented reality components of it, right? The facial recognition, the doing not only diagnostics but actually capturing information during that telemedicine session or during that home visit, that traditionally you wouldn't be able to do, and that requires more than just access to the medical record. That
Mm-hmm.
requires access to some web-based applications, some SaaS-based applications. You need to be able to, once again, provide that level of security, privacy, as well as efficiency to the operations piece of it.
And even sometimes device cameras and peripherals and
Yep,
managing all of that and securing all of that. So it becomes a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah, for certain. And one of the things that to kind of drill just a little bit deeper here, and I think you might have mentioned it, Monica. The platform license obviously includes every capability that we have or that Citrix has in the portfolio, but it also indicates in the blog here that it will include future innovations. And one of those
Mm-hmm.
are the observability umbrella is Uber Agent, which is a observability monitoring tool that Citrix announced they were acquiring 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We at XenTegra are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Uber Agent reseller in the U.S. We use it internally in our hosting environment and have for a number of years, and have found it to be a really solid, deep, good product. And so this is a great addition to the monitoring and observability capabilities of Citrix, and it's part and parcel of the platform license. Anybody want to
Yes.
comment on that at all?
Well, first of all, I love that plug, Bill. I didn't know that about XenTegra and how big of a reseller you are of Uber Agent.
Oh yeah,
So,
we Andy, if he were on here, he would say we had some renewals coming up about the time that Citrix announced the acquisition, and those renewals went poof. So
oh,
yeah, so that was
well,
unfortunate.
hopefully they can convert to.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay, I understand.
yeah,
But no, still, it's analytics has always been something that we've we've kind of been doing over the years. We've already built in director and monitor into your DAS and CVAD consoles. But beyond that, we added analytics for security over the past few years, analytics for performance. Getting the scope of what's happening in your environments is obviously huge, and taking action on those things. Uber Agent gives us even more information into what's
yeah.
happening in virtual environments because we're just saying, I mean, they have user experience, they have security, they have
Hmm?
like tons and tons of capabilities in there. I was given a demo a few days ago and I'm like, I can't even keep up with how much this can do and how much data you can have. So having access to that data and then being able to take action on it is really exciting.
Yes, absolutely, it is. We like I said, we use it, but I'm not, I don't really have not really seen it. And when I went through the blog article about the announcement, I had no idea that they did the security things that they do. So
Hmm.
kind of had my eyes open there with regard to that because that's not something I thought Uber Agent was a part of. That was part of Uber Agent.
Leaps and bounds from the days of Edge Site.
I was just going to say to all of our listeners who've been here a while, this is not EdSite. So
But you know what? I think that brings up a really good um, segue for the conversation, right? It's a lot of these tools are great at gathering information.
Yeah.
It really comes down to how that information is interpreted and how it becomes operationalized, right?
Mhm.
So if I'm using analytics as an example to gather up the information, that's one thing to gather it and report it. It's another thing to have the ability to integrate it with things like ServiceNow, where it automatically opens up a ticket. So say, for instance, I'm having a network performance issue that's detected by Citrix Analytics via Uber Agent and via a variety of different data sources. That's going to be much more valuable if I can automatically detect that that needs to go and open up a ServiceNow ticket for our networking team to investigate a node that's not performing. Or I'm starting to see storage get expanded beyond, I'm starting to hit thresholds on my storage. I'm starting to see CPUs being overloaded, right? The value there is that you're going to be able to automate a lot of those responses based on those triggers and not have to worry about a human manually intervening in that whole process.
Yeah, hopefully this gets us to the point where we identify the issue and begin addressing it before we even get a call, right?
That's correct.
That's the holy grail, so to
That
speak.
is.
Identify the problem, resolve it if possible, but at least start working on it before you start getting calls. So to the extent Uber Agent and as well as the analytics for performance and security can help with that, that goes a long way towards getting there and integrating with platforms like ServiceNow.
Yeah.
So I want to keep moving. In the blog article, it talks about, in addition to Uber Agent, the license includes, and I think we've already covered this, but
Mhm.
I'll just highlight it. So obviously, App Desk and virtualization, so CVAD Premium and Citrix DAS Premium, NetScaler. I believe it's unlimited. And
Yes, I was about to say, not to bury the lead, but at the bottom section there, you'll see
yeah, there it
you
is.
get unlimited capacity for all of these things. So again, that's another thing about the relationship and understanding the environment, but having the unlimited capacity and expanding how your organization needs to expand makes it incredibly flexible.
Yeah.
So yes, that is a huge bonus for this as well.
Yeah, and in addition to those items, like we just talked about, monitoring and insights, so analytics for performance and security, and Uber Agent are all part of the platform license. And then finally, secure private access and endpoint management are also part of this. So it really includes everything that we've historically seen as individual point type products that are really collapsed into this one offering that gives customers the strategic option to leverage the platform holistically throughout the organization. Let's see. So lastly, the article, you want to speak to this, Todd, on investing in your success, maybe talk a little bit about the Kickstart program?
Yeah. So part of this is, we talked about this earlier is it is investment on both sides, right? So it's
Yeah.
investment by the customer in the license model, and it's an investment by Citrix in making sure that you're successful in deploying this and actually getting value out of it, right? And part of this is we're leveraging things like not only, the financial investment tools, but also leveraging things like some of our services to get things up and running, right? Oftentimes it's referred to as a Kickstart program, right? It's a focused project to get things up and running, whether it be SPA or analytics and things like that. We're also we've changed our services model. So where instead of having to pay for technical support or, typical, typical support services, right? We're adding a lot of those capabilities built into the licensing program itself, right? So instead of having to pay an additional priority support fee, we've added in escalation management. We've added in regular frequent health checks and assessments and things like that, helping with design work and things like that. But we're still going to leverage partners like XenTegra to actually do a lot of the implementations piece of it. So the build and operationalized components are still going to be done through partners, but some of the design work and some of the assessments and some of those reviews would typically be done via this unified services approach. The benefit there is to establish a more regular cadence with the overall Citrix team. All right. So this is not just, hey, you hear from your sales rep every time there's a renewal event coming up. This is going to be more onus on the account team to manage not only the selling component of it, but also the services that go along with it. And really look at that success model as being it's the continuum across the board. It's not just individual event-based activities.
Absolutely. And I think we are very encouraged by this, obviously, being able to partner in a deeper way with Citrix and with our customers to kind of have the three-legged stool. We've got the customer, and then we've got Citrix Unified Services for support, design, architecture, and then us or the partner. They're able to help kind of do a lot of the implementation services and things along those lines, but then leverage the efforts that Unified Services or Citrix has done around the architecture and design. And that way the customer kind of is part of the team. It's not, the customer's not passing it off to somebody to do, and they're kind of in a vacuum. We're all working together and creating a unified approach to the solutions for the customer, which I think is a really good model.
And I think I'm going to jump in on this last comment here, last piece of the comment, because I think this is also one of those cases where we buried the lead on this, and that is a lot of organizations have taken advantage in the past of our education services.
Right.
So product training, technical certifications, things like that. So one of the things we've done is we recently partnered with Pluralsight, which is one of the top technical education vendors out there, to provide all of the courseware for Citrix and NetScaler being delivered via Pluralsight courses, right? So the benefit here is that if you own a Citrix license, you have access to the Citrix and NetScaler content on Pluralsight. This is beneficial in a couple of ways. Number one is it gives you one place to go to get your technical education. Number two is Pluralsight also hosts a lot of the education courseware for other industry ecosystem partners of ours, whether it be Nutanix or Cisco or Microsoft, a variety of different technical partners that are out there. And number three is it provides you with the visibility into all of your courses, right? So you're not having to go and say, do I have certifications that are updated in this? Do I what are the courses that I need to take that are adjacent to my Citrix and NetScaler courses, right? So I may need to go out and take an updated course on Microsoft Server Administration or SQL DBA type of things. I'm going to one place.
Right.
And that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Monica,
Yep,
thoughts on this? Oh,
yeah, no, I was gonna mention the same. We have a new web page. So if you search Citrix training and certifications, there's a single web page that talks about all of the Pluralsight. There's a banner at the top that's like log into Pluralsight so you can go there. It talks about instructor-led trainings, which are still through localized partners, I think. Yeah, if you scroll down one more.
Yeah.
There you go. Localized partners, depending on your region. I know Layer 8's a big partner of ours. And then our certifications you can get through Pearson VUE. So just some specifics on there. It's Citrix training and certifications on citrix.com. So you can click through and see. But yeah, those Pluralsight links and that banner at the top there, Bill, that learn more button goes direct to on-demand training on Pluralsight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really key. I mean, I've used Pluralsight in the past, and it's a really solid platform. It's great for tracking training and seeing who's interacting with it and who's not, and helping create incentives for them to do it. So I think that's a great place to host it. There are a few FAQs here I think we ought to just touch on. I'll take the first one because it's easy. When will the new licensing become available? It is available now. It actually went live March 4th. Talk a little bit, Monica, I guess, about the eligibility for the platform license or hybrid multi-cloud.
Yeah, so it gets into some specifics. Universal hybrid multi-cloud subscription is for net new for 250 users and up. So you can talk to your Citrix partner and or representative to get more information on that. And then if you're currently a Citrix customer today, how to renew, etc., they can work with you there.
Right.
And then just to reiterate, the platform license is by invitation only. So if you're super keen, really excited about everything we talked about today, want to have a symbiotic relationship continuing with Citrix with our partners, then talk to your rep or partner for more information there.
Yep. And Todd, you want to take the last one there?
Yeah, so questions come up around I'm an existing customer on Citrix Analytics or Uber Agent or SPA as a standalone product, right? So what do I, how do I deal with a renewal, or how do I get licenses? Uh, so Analytics and SPA went end of sale as a standalone offering as of December 6, 2023. Existing customers can renew up until December 2024. Uber Agent maintenance is available, renewals is available for current customers only. So it's going to, the only way you're going to be able to get Uber Agent moving forward are going to be through the Citrix platform. And if you're interested in this, if you want to know more about this, obviously contact your Citrix representative. And you could do that either by contacting your Citrix account manager directly or coming through any of our great partners like XenTegra.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you can bring up the Kickstart program.
Correct.
So now that you've heard more from us, from Todd on the Kickstart program, that might be of interest to you all as well.
Exactly. So that's the end of the blog. I obviously the announcements they've made really is simplifying things for customers and partners, to be honest. And really, the last section here above the facts is Citrix is clearly dedicating their resources to helping customers in the application delivery landscape and the challenges that are in this hybrid world where we have on-prem and multiple clouds. So definitely a solid offering going forward. And with that, any final thoughts, Todd?
I think I'm very excited about a lot of these changes. Obviously, making it simpler for a customer to weed through the number of different unique SKUs that we had in the past has been very beneficial. But I also think having one SKU or definitive set of SKUs to get everything on the truck is very beneficial, right? And I think the other component of it is, when you have a universal license that allows you to place the workloads wherever you need them, is absolutely critical, right? It gives you the utmost flexibility. And it also gives you a lot of scalability as well.
Great, thank you. Monica, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I totally agree with you both. From the content side, getting more information side, citrix.com/blogs, where we're looking at today, is always the latest and greatest information and updates. Also, the new citrix.com as a whole. Take a look. We completely overhauled, I think, 40 pages and redirected a number of other ones. So not that you need all of the minutia of that, but there's probably new stuff in there that you haven't seen in a while, or that you've never seen. Or if you haven't been on Citrix.com in a while, it's probably completely new. So check out the components of the platform there, training and certifications. We've got a Calvin video, a video from Calvin Shu that talks about all of this and more. So great content out there.
Absolutely. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't do the shameless plug again. And that is, if you need help digesting, if you're listening to this and you need help digesting any of this, you can always reach out to your XenTegra account manager or to me directly. I'll get you the right person. We can help you understand this. And we at XenTegra also are committed to enabling and supporting customers through additional training. So stay tuned for some webinars that may be forthcoming on this topic in the near future. So that's kind of a teaser, I guess. So thank you guys for joining this morning, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.